One of the things about the 2025 minor league season for the New York Mets, they had some of the best teams in the minor leagues, and we chronicled it all here at the Prospect Channel. And one of the teams that had a very good year was the St. Lucie Mets. This is the preview for this year, 2026, but they had a great year last year. And this is the preview. The St. Lucie Mets had a cumulative 77-53 record in 2025, the best in the Florida State League in 2025. The first half record was 34-31, and they had an explosion in the second half. They had an excellent second half. Over the last few years, the St. Lucie Mets were a particularly great team. That changed last year as the team won the Florida State League East Division with a not exactly dominant 34-31 record, benefiting from an extremely weak division. St. Lucie was the only team in the FSL East to finish the first half over 500. The team had a much better second half, going 43-22. Steamrolling through the rest of the Florida State League and once again won the division. St. Lucie Mets played the Daytona Tortugas in the SSL East Divisional Series, but fell 2-1 in the best-of-3 series, ending their season. St. Lucie had a 20-10 record against them during the season, but Daytona's pitchers stepped up, not allowing more than 2 runs in any of the 3 contests and shutting out the Mets in the clincher. Luis Rivera will be returning as his second year as the St. Lucie Mets manager. Joining him will be Jonathan Craman, who will be serving as bench coach, David Mervis, who will be serving as pitching coach, and Brian Munoz, who will be serving as hitting coach. Craman will be replacing 2025 bench coach Jonathan Jones. Mervis will be replacing 2025 pitching coach Luis Alvarado, and Munoz will be replacing 2025 hitting coach Devin DeYoung. The 2026 season will be the first season that Craman is employed by the Mets prior to joining the organization. The 26th season will also be the first season that Mervis is employed by the Mets. The 26th season will be the second season that Munoz... Okay, we can skip all this. This is not that important. Here's the pitching staff, and I will let you know who to keep an eye on for this season. Luis Alvarez, Frank Camarillo, Nicholas Carino, keep an eye on him. Felix Cepeda, Joe Charles, Jose Chirinos, Jorge De Leon, Ryan Dollar, Joel Lara, keep an eye on him. Tyler McLaughlin, Ernesto Mercedes, Elvis Miaris, Christian Rodriguez, Joe Scarborough, Cam Tilley, he was drafted, keep an eye on him last year. Omar Victorino, Connor Ware, Caden Wooster. On the catching side, we got Chase Meagers, Francisco Toledo, Julio Zayas, keep an eye on him. Infielders Randy Guzman, who we saw in spring training with the Mets. Edison Polino, Elian Pena, that's the big guy. Had to keep an eye on. He might not be in the Florida State League for long. He's 18 years old, coming out of Dominican. Played in DSL last year. He just lit it up. And he had a very first game on Thursday. He did really well. Sam Robertson, Kevin Villaviceno. Outfielders. Who are the outfielders? We got JT Benson, Sam Biller, Simon Wan, keep an eye on him, and AJ Sagado. But the big player here, the guy we're all going to be following all season long, will be Elian Pena, who's 18 years old. He might be, at the end of this season, the Mets' best prospect that they have in the entire system. That's how good he can be. Right now, he's about 11, 13, 14. Once some of these players graduate, once Carson Benz graduates and he's the number 1 prospect the Mets have now, once he graduates off the list, Pena is going to go up. By the middle of the season, he will be a top 5 prospect. Only on Pena. You can bank on that. I'm not a betting man, but if you want to bet on something, unless he gets injured, that's what he's going to be. A top 5 prospect with the Mets by the middle of the season. Well, you let me know what you think about this video, and of course, please subscribe to Prospect Hut, and I'll see you later. Hi, everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut. Welcome back to the Baseball Hut, and hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. Before we get this video, I need to hit the subscribe button. But let's talk about what's going on with the Mets. Had a lot of drama here in the offseason. Obviously, the season started. There's some things not particularly looking too good, but in a short amount of time. The body language isn't good on this team right now. But besides that, I mentioned how the media likes to cover up and protect not only the players but also the ownership too. And they play both sides. So they want to keep access. So there was a story that came out during the offseason that the Mets had a problem in the clubhouse. That Brandon Nimmo and Francesca Lindor didn't get along, and a lot of it to do with politics. And we know that Lindor has had issues with guys like Jeff McNeil to where they hated each other. But the media has been, we know the media causes trouble, and I've mentioned this many times. They are the instrument that causes a lot of trouble, and they cause a lot of instigation with the fans as well online, and then they try to act like they're innocent. But there's a story that's come out about Mike Francesca. Mike Francesca was the first to mention this rift between Lindor and Nimmo. As you know, Nimmo got traded to the Rangers in the offseason in November from Marcus Semien to Texas. Well, Mike Francesca said there was a rift politically, and that had not been talked about most of the offseason up until Thursday when a story came out from Scott Boras, the Scott Boras whisperer John Heyman of the New York Post, and an MLB insider, and he refutes it. Now I'm going to refute this when we get to the end of this. This from awful announcing. John Heyman refutes Mike Francesca's bogus Brandon Nimmo Francisco Lindor rift rumor over Trump. Quote, Nimmo and I are brothers. I love him. I love him. Well, love or not, he ain't here no more. Brandon Nimmo plays for the Texas Rangers now. But last season there were persistent rumors about a rift between him and New York Mets teammate Francisco Lindor. Might be a moot point now, but the New York Post John Heyman wanted to make it clear those reports were bogus. An alleged Brandon Nimmo Francisco Lindor rift was rumored by one talking head last season. That ain't true. Heyman wrote on Thursday that talking head is presumably New York sports radio legend Mike Francesca, who floated the notion that the issue between the two teammates stemmed from President Donald Trump. The Nimmo-Lindor thing, my understanding, was political, had to do with Trump. One side liked Trump and one side didn't like Trump. Francesca said on his podcast in December. So Trump splitting up the mess between Nimmo and Lindor, that's my understanding. That is started over Trump. As crazy as it sounds. No, it doesn't. While Heyman admitted that there were some issues in the Mets clubhouse last season, he says he spoke with several people, including Lindor, and came away convinced the rumor was a bunch of bunk. Quote, Nimmo and I are brothers. I love him, Lindor told the Post. He's a great guy. He's missed around here. Good teammate, good person, good family man. Okay? Heyman added that one person who would know called the rumor bogus. So far, Nimmo's time with the Rangers off to a hot start, while Lindor is struggling in his sixth season in New York. Sounds like Nimmo's missed in more ways than one. Now, I've said that this is a lot of times the media covers for players. Nimmo was very popular here. He was here a long time, and he's a homegrown Met. And this story made Lindor look really bad, and because this adds on with this thing with Jeff McNeil. And also the story of Juan Soto, that they don't get along, they're not friendly. And he didn't really welcome Soto warmly last offseason. But I'm going to refute this, that only one person had mentioned this. WFAN's Craig Carton had also said on his radio show on Thursday that there was not only a rift between Nimmo and Lindor, but there was a rift between Lindor's wife and Nimmo's wife. That they didn't get along politically. They just didn't like each other. Now we know when mom is not happy, nobody's happy. And you got two women that don't like each other, they're going to cause all kinds of issues with the husbands. And it's going to be a distraction. Now we know that Mrs. Lindor is very active politically. Okay, she talks about socialism, but meanwhile they live in a lavish penthouse in Midtown, in Manhattan. But we have two sources here, okay? Now, I believe that second source, Craig Carton, is getting it directly from the Met clubhouse and getting it directly from Mets ownership. Chris Christie is part of the Mets ownership executive group. Okay, he's an executive in the Mets ownership group with Steve Cohen. Chris Christie and Craig Carton are very close. They're neighbors. They're friends. When there was mention of the first time on the radio show between Nimmo and Lindor on the WFAN show, about a half hour later, Chris Christie was on the air. And I'm surmising that the Lindor-Nimmo story came from Chris Christie. So there's two people. This is a lie. Okay? This story is a lie because you have two sources that said that this was true. Okay? And like I said, this is what the media does. This is what they always do. They make up stuff. But they also do this to cover people up. Cover up all this nonsense. Now, I think about this as a fan. I'm a fan of Nimmo, a fan of Pete Alonso. Jeff McNeil was here a long time. All these guys are gone. They've gotten off to a sluggish start the first 6 games. But if this continues on for a month, 2 months, the drum beat is going to be louder. But this is more these videos. This video is more about the media, kind of covering up the tracks of a major problem that's going on. This is what they do. It's how it goes. So, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later. This is the 6th best prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. Texas Rangers shortstop third baseman, Sebastian Walcott. Some evaluators projected that Walcott would become the best player ever produced by the Bahamas, even before he signed for $3.2 million in January 2023. The Rangers have challenged him with aggressive assignments, and he has fared well while reaching high A at age 17 and Double A at 18. Youngest batting qualifier at age 19 at Double A last season. He ranked as the top prospect in the Texas League while batting .255 with career best in walks and strikeout rate. He played just 1 game in the Arizona Fall League afterward because of an arm fatigue, then was diagnosed with a torn elbow ligament in February that required internal brace surgery that will cost him the first half of the 2026 season. Walcott has better bat speed and hits the ball harder than almost any player his age, and many big leaguers. No matter how old they are, his 40-homer upside naturally overshadows his hitting ability, but he showed an improved 2-strike approach and did a better job of waiting on all-speed pitches in 2025. His right-handed swing is so quick that he gets out in front of most pitches, meaning that almost all of his extra base hits come to his pull side, and he'll need to prove he can do damage against offerings on the outer third. Walcott will flash plus speed at times and has base stealing aptitude, but he projects more as an average runner once he's fully developed. He has smooth infield actions for someone who stands 6'4", and his arm is one of the strongest in the minors, though he needs to improve the consistencies of his footwork, hands, and throwing accuracy. He committed 24 errors in 88 games at shortstop last year, and eventually could wind up at third base or in right field, with his bat making him a star wherever he plays. This is the 6th best prospect according to MLB Pipeline, Texas Rangers shortstop third baseman, Sebastian Walcott. This is the box score for the season opener for the St. Lucie Mets, which is the low minor league A-ball team that the Mets have in the Florida State League. And they lost 6-3 to the Palm Beach Cardinals on the road. They're on the road right now. The big star in this game was Elian Pena, went 2 for 4 in this game and had a double in his first stateside at bat. He had a very good debut. He's going to fly through this Mets farm system very quickly. Edison Paulino went 0 for 4. Randy Guzman went 0 for 4. Julio Zayas went 2 for 5. AJ Sagana went 1 for 4 with a run scored. Simon Juan went 1 for 4. Miguel the catcher went 1 for 3. Kevin Villavicecchio, that's his name right, went 0 for 4, and Sam Robertson went 0 for 3, the center fielder. And obviously Pena had a double, so did Zayas had a double. and AJ Sagato had a home run. On the pitching side, Carreno went 2 1/3 innings with 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts, and gave up a home run. Trey McLaughlin, who got the loss in this first game, went 1 2/3 innings with 2 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. Victorino went 3 innings, gave up a hit, 2 runs, 1 earned, and Cepeda finishing up the game, pitched an inning and gave up a hit. So this is the first game of the season for the St. Lucie Mets, and I have plenty of stuff on them. All the box scores, and of course, all the scouting reports you could possibly get on all these players. So thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in the St. Lucie Mets, hit the subscribe button. Here are the results that happened in the Syracuse Mets game against the Toledo Mud Hens on Thursday. The Mud Hens absolutely destroyed the Mets pitching staff, and really the second stuff for Jonah Tong was not very good. But we'll get into the offense first. Nick Morabito went 2 for 4. He was DHing, scored a run. The Mets lost 17-7, by the way. That's how bad this game was. MJ Melendez went 0 for 4. Ronnie Mauricio went 3 for 5. Had a good game with an RBI. Ryan Clifford went 2 for 5. Christian Arroyo went 1 for 4 with a run scored. Vidal Brujan went 2 for 4. The run scored. Christian Pache went 0 for 5. Jackson Kloof, playing third base, went 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Hayden Sanger, who was the offensive star of the game, which saying a lot because he had 2 home runs in this game and drove in 3 runs. On the pitching side, and this is very difficult to say, Jonah Tong had nothing. He had just looking at this based on his line. He pitched 1 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 7 runs, 4 earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and he gave up a home run. Out of 60 pitches, he threw, Out of 60 pitches, he threw 34 strikes, so he threw 26 strikes. So he's only 8 pitches better than he should have been. That's not good command. I mean, really, he has to be able to pitch much better than this if he's going to get called up. I mean, like I've said, on other channels and on this channel in particular, he's just not ready yet. And the first 2 starts have been very troubling. Right now, in 2 starts, he's pitched 5 2/3 innings with a ERA of 6.35. So that's a troubling. And the Met bullpen was terrible in Syracuse. I'm not even going to get into it. It's so bad. But thank you for watching this video. This is the box score that happened on Thursday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. 14th best prospect in the Mets farm system, according to Fangraphs, is right-handed pitcher R.J. Gordon. Gordon got the standard $150,000 bonus of a post-10th rounder back when he signed in 2024. That investment looks like a bargain now that he's pitched both well and deep into games in Double-A. In 2025, the undersized righty turned the neat trick of working longer with more strikeouts and fewer walks than he managed in college, and looks like another success for New York's scouting and development apparatus. Once a flyer-length arm, Gordon now has the look of a back-end starting pitcher as a prospect. He's calmed his delivery and is throwing strikes more often. His splits has also taken a big step forward and is now the best pitch in the holster. He has a fringy fastball up to 96, but more commonly 91 to 93 with good carry and command, if not quite enough to project it as much of a bat misser. He also improved his breaking stuff a bit since college. While none of his secondaries look like the kind of plus-out pitch that augurs a mid-rotation future, we see a number 4 upside if his command outpaces our projection. He could end up in Queens as soon as this season. Now, this is the scouting report for the Mets' 14th best prospect, according to Fangraphs, R.J. Gordon. A massive Francisco Lindor problem. He played the 3rd game of the series in St. Louis, forgetting how many outs there were in the first inning, and basically seeming like he didn't care in this game. Now, I did not watch this game, but I've been probably the most vocal voice and been very critical of Lindor's time here with the Mets. Mets needed to do the right thing this past offseason and as to get rid of him as well. They got rid of Lindor was able to get rid of Brandon Nimmo because they weren't getting along. The wives weren't getting along. They also got rid of Jeff McNeil, who he hated. They got rid of him. Okay? And in the process, Pete Alonso's no longer here. He doesn't get along with Juan Soto. So what's the problem here? The problem is Lindor is the problem. I'd felt for many years that he wasn't going to play well here in New York. He had one big moment. He had a big year in 2024. But I'm starting to see a player that is losing his motivation. I'm starting to see a player that's losing a step. Now, I will be covering this all season long. If this doesn't change, the Mets are going to have to get rid of him in the next offseason. They have no choice at this point. And I hate seeing players getting thrown out of here, but if the guy can't handle it here, bye-bye. And his attitudes, I don't care, bye-bye. Well, thank you for watching this video. I will be covering all this stuff as well as the games every day here at the Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later. Ducks news for you. I'm sure you've seen it. The Ducks have signed former Cy Young Award winner Trevor Bauer. Now, he's been out of the major leagues for a long time now, but he's going to get a shot at possibly getting back to the majors. He signed a one-year deal with the Ducks, and he's going to be starting opening day on April 21st in Islip in a few weeks. So this major news, this massive baseball news, because the Ducks are part of the Atlantic League, and the Atlantic League has a partnership with Major League Baseball. So this might be a way for Trevor to get back into the game that he was desperately wanting to try to get back into. So that is massive news. That this channel, what I do here on the Baseball Hut 2, we talk a lot about the Ducks, and we are going to cover every single start that Bauer makes, and we will cover every game that the Ducks play for the 2026 season in the Atlantic League. So hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later. In the matchup in the minor leagues for the Syracuse Mets, the Mets defeated the Toledo Mud Hens 4-2. Nick Morabito won 1-for-4. Now, this is a channel we talk about everything with the Mets minor league system. Nick Morabito went 1-for-4 with a run scored, a stolen base. Ronnie Mauricio went 0-for-3 with a run scored. Ryan Clifford played right field and first base, went 1-for-4. He made a really good catch in the outfield during the game. Christian Arroyo went 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs. Rojas went 1-for-3. Later on, Jackson Clough came in and scored a run on a pinch hit. Vidal Brujan went 1-for-3. Ben Rovert, who was playing behind the plate today, went 1-for-3. Christian and Pache went 1-for-3. And Haijuan Bay went 0-for-3 in the game. On the pitching side, New York Mets prospect Jack Winninger pitched 4 2/3 innings. He pitched very effectively his first start of the game. Gave up 5 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Joe Guerra pitched an inning, gave up 3 hits. He's the only one that gave up runs in the game. 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 strikeouts. Severino came in to finish up, the 6th inning. Pitched a third of an inning. Pintaro pitched 2 innings. He got the win. 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. And Austin Warren came in and finished the game, pitched an inning and got a strikeout. Now, the 2 guys to keep an eye on for the Mets if they get to the major leagues this year is Jonathan Pintaro, who is a prospect, an older prospect, and Austin Warren has been sort of with the Mets, the club. He's a guy that's going to help them in the bullpen later on in the season. So those are things you need to watch out for when it comes to what's going on in the Mets minor league. So now I need you to hit that subscribe button for Prospect Hut, and I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut. You made some spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. And hopefully, this is the Baseball Hut too. Hopefully, you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're back here. Again, I'm going to talk about this again. I know people have been talking about it on X. I want to talk about it here on YouTube. Bust Only was on a podcast, I guess, on Tuesday. And he was talking about the relationship between Juan Soto and Francesca Lindor of the New York Mets, saying they have not gotten all warm and fuzzy, even now. Now, we know that there was a lot of issues there last year. One of the things that came out in the offseason, and a lot of stuff has come out in the offseason about all the relationships, sort of going back and forth of Lindor and Lindor and Brandon Nimmo. We know that there was some issue there, which was not addressed and was not even asked by the media to guys like David Stearns, who runs the ball club, about the political rift that was between Lindor and Nimmo. No discussion, no questions. You don't ask the president of baseball operations if you traded Nimmo because of politics. and that it was so divisive within the clubhouse. And I'm not talking about the actual politics. When you talk about politics, it divides people. Okay? Now, we know that Lindor's had issues here. He had an issue with Jeff McNeil for years. They had to move McNeil because of that. We know that he's had issues with Nimmo. Now we have this situation with Soto. The one thing we learned about the whole thing with Soto and Lindor is that when Lindor, I guess, was told that Soto was going to come here, he was no warm and fuzzy. We've heard this story been told to us by media people saying that there was not a lot of happiness there. That Lindor was not too happy that Soto was coming in there, and he didn't really welcome him in open arms. We also heard a story, and we know that Lindor got off to a very difficult start here, to where he was showing his displeasure to the fans, this whole thing with thumbs down, with Javi Baez and a few other Met players that basically got sent packing after the 2021 season. And we learned this offseason that the number one person that helped Soto adjust to being in New York was Hall of Famer Carlos Beltran. Beltran's not in that clubhouse. You'd think that one of the guys in the clubhouse would have been helping Soto adjust to New York. I would mention, Carlos Beltran has not played for the Mets in 20 years. Last time he played for the Mets was in 2011, but when he got to New York was 2005. So that's 20 years ago. But Beltran's the one helping him adjust to New York, or at least adjusting to the Mets' way of thinking. That tells you a lot about the sort of leadership or lack thereof of Lindor. So that's why I've been saying for a while I didn't think he was a leader. Then we had, of course, this off season, the last month and a half or 2 months, where Mets owner Steve Cohen said we're not going to have any more captains. I think he's trying to take a lot of pressure off of Lindor. I think he recognizes that he's not the kind of guy you want leading your organization, especially on the field. I think we've seen enough of this sort of weird kind of attitude. But one of the things that came out during the offseason was a player within the clubhouse compared the two of them, that Soto's all about playing the game, doing what he has to do to play the game, winning, doing the right things offensively, doing the right things from a bat to a bat, improving his game. We saw the improvement with his game where he was stealing bases last year from past years. And then they talk about Lindor. He's all about fashion. All about fashion. I have a very unique position that I don't care what I say. Why does he need a baseball glove for every single game? Why do you need a baseball glove for every game? What a waste of money. What do you need cleats for every single game? But really, what do you need a baseball glove for every game? I haven't bought a baseball glove in like 35 years. 30 years. They're not cheap. And you're talking about a world-class baseball glove, about $200, $300 a day he's spending. Why? Why do you need a glove every day? The best gloves are the gloves that are, worn out, worn in. The priorities here are very strange, and I've been talking about him for years. Now, one of the things we know that there's been a problem in that clubhouse for 4 or 5 years with the group that they had here. And that is something that we're not quite rid of the whole thing. Lindor is the last guy standing here. I wonder if the Mets don't get a handle on this year, that if there's a continued problem and they don't go to postseason again, are they going to get him out of here? Now, the problem is he's going to be a 5'10" guy with his no-trade clause. It's difficult. It's difficult. He'd have to waive his no-trade clause as a 5'10" player and with his no-trade clause. But, I know it's early in the season. It's 5 games into the season. But it was mentioned during this appearance by Busta Olney. Now, I would say this. He does not like the Mets. And I don't think he really cares for us Met fans. And I think he kind of put that out there a little bit to sort of get under our skin. But I know people were really talking about it on X. I wanted to mention it because I think it's important. Because I've been on the case of Lindor for a long time. And even though he had a great stretch there in 2024, I think his better days are behind him. We're going to keep an eye on him a little bit. I thought that the reason he got thrown out on Sunday late in the game is he might be losing a bit of a step on the field. I think that may be one of the many reasons he got thrown out. You're not going to notice it, but if you're getting thrown out at the plate, you're losing a step, by the way. That wasn't exactly the perfect throw to home plate, by the way. But I'll keep you up to date on this on the Baseball Hut too. Thank you for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you later. This is the scouting report for the best prospects of the 2026 MLB draft, and this is the best prospect, number 1, UCLA shortstop, Rock Cholowski. According to MLB Pipeline, Cholowski, the son of former minor leaguer and longtime scout Jan Cholowski, was a top 50 player as a two-sport athlete from the Hamilton High School program in Arizona that produced Cody Bellinger. His commitment to UCLA priced him out, and he ended up the highest-ranked player not selected in the 2023 MLB draft. After a solid freshman year with the Bruins, he vaulted himself to the top of the 2026 draft boards by posting a 1190 OPS with 23 homers as a sophomore, and is considered by some to be the best all-around college shortstop prospect since Troy Tulowitzki. A 6'2" right-handed hitter, Cholowski has the chance to have 4+ tools when all is said and done. He routinely finds the barrel, doesn't swing and miss, or chase with an advanced approach at the plate. When he finds the ball out front, he'll show it off 70 raw power to his pull side, and that's where his home run pop showed up in 2025. He's not a runner, though he's smart on the base pass. That lack of speed won't impact him as a defender. He uses what he has in short spaces very well. That, along with his plus instincts, allow him to get to most balls at shortstop, where he profiles as a plus defender with a plus arm. A leader who was a high school quarterback, he serves as the head of his infield in the same manner. His tools and makeup make him look like the kind of player who could be big league ready in a hurry. And this is the scouting report for Rock Cholowski, shortstop at UCLA, for the 2026 MLB draft. The Syracuse Mets lost their first game at home, 5-1, versus the Toledo Mud Hens at NBT Stadium. They played at 3 o'clock. They was originally supposed to play at 6:35, but they were concerned about the weather, and the weather did cut this game down. This game only went 7 innings. The offense for the Syracuse club was not very good. They only had 3 hits in the game. The only star of the game offensively was Ryan Mauricio, and he hit a 4th inning home run. MJ Melendez went 1 for 3. Nick Morbillo's gotten off to a good start the first 4 games. Went 1 for 3. Ryan Mauricio went 1 for 3 with a home run scored. Ryan Clifford went 0 for 3. Jorge Rojas went 0 for 2. Christian Pache went 0 for 2. Jingwan Bay went 0 for 2. Hayden Singh went 0 for 1 with a walk, and Jackson Clough went 0 for 2. So all these are kind of condensed because of the fact that they played only 7 innings because of the weather. Melendez had a double, and that's the only other extra base hit they had in the game. They started Carl Edwards Jr. in this game, and obviously he's the guy that threw the last pitch out in the 2016 World Series for the Cubs. He pitched 4 innings, gave 4 hits, 5 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Then they went to Gerber, who pitched 2 2/3 innings. Walked 2, gave a hit, struck out 3. Alex Carrillo finished the game for the Mets in the 7th inning, last out in the 7th inning, pitched an inning and a third of an inning with a walk and a strikeout. The Mets are now in Triple A, now 2-2. They'll play on Wednesday. I'll have everything here. This is a 6-game series against the Mud Hens, and they'll be playing until the end of the week, until Sunday, and then they go back out on the road. But this is the start of the home season for the Mets in Syracuse. And, of course, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Prospect Hut. The scouting report for the 5th best prospect in Major League Baseball, according to the MLB Pipeline. This is Cardinals infielder J.J. Weatherholt. Weatherholt won the Division I batting title, hitting .449 and Big 12 Player of the Year honors during his breakout sophomore year at West Virginia, and followed that up with solid showings with Team USA and in the Cape Cod League. Hamstring issues dogged him for repeating that performance as a junior, but he still posted a .331 batting average in 36 games. Considered a candidate to go first overall, Weatherholt went 7 to the Cardinals in the 2024 draft and did not skip a beat in pro ball. Hitting .306 with a .421 on-base percentage, .510 slugging percentage, with 17 home runs in 109 games between AA Springfield and AAA Memphis in his first full season. Looking relaxed and loose in an upright open stance, Weatherholt inevitably combines good plate discipline with an ability to manipulate the barrel and put consistent strong contact into play. He didn't whiff more than 26% of the time against any pitch type in the upper minors. And while he doesn't reach huge top-end exit velocities, the right mix of angles and generally hard-hit balls helped his power show up in a bigger way at AAA, boosting his already well-known offensive profile. The 5'9" infielder moves with above-average speed, and he has been efficient on the base paths as a pro. Weatherholt has been primarily shortstop since his final season in Morgantown, but the Cardinals moved him to second and third last season, partly to get him exposure to different angles off the bat, and partly because his glove won't knock Mason Wynn off the six. When he gets his feet under him, Weatherholt can exhibit strong throws across the diamond, but he'll need to work on his accuracy when on the move. His offensive skills are worth making room for, as he's a potential 300 hitter with 20-20 ability. This is the scouting report for the Mets' 13th best prospect according to Fangraphs. This is catcher Chris Suaro. Suaro is twitchy, strong for his size athlete with uncommon pull power and speed for a catcher, as well as some defensive versatility that should help him carve out a roster spot despite technical issues at each position. He raked at High A Brooklyn throughout the first half of 2025 and was promoted to AA Binghamton at the All-Star break, finishing with a .233 batting average, .379 on base, .407 slugging percentage line across the entire season before he teed off on lots of fringy stuff in the Arizona Fall League. Sorrell lacks the size of a primary catcher, and because of the struggles with pitch framing and ball blocking, both would be issues if the Mets suddenly needed him back there every day. He's often too late to the catch point to make borderline pitches look like strikes, and though Suaro's quickness and toughness allows him to make some nifty plays in the dirt, there are instances when his modest size and poor hands prevent him from deadening the baseball. Suaro has one hell of an arm, though, and his pop times benefit from how quickly he explodes out of the crouch. He has played 41 career games at first base and 49 in left field. He isn't a good first baseman, but he runs around well enough to play left. It might be worth it to the Mets to scrap first base for now and allocate those reps to left field, doubling the time Suaro spends there and hopefully upping the pace at which he develops better reads and routes. On offense, Suaro's impressive pound-for-pound strength. He's built like a blitz-stopping third-down back, and his high-effort swing style make him a dangerous pull-side hitter. His short levers help him stay on time to yank mistakes down the left field line, but it comes at the expense of ugly whiffs against elevated fastballs. It's the kind of offense that could be palatable in a full-time catcher, but we're not comfortable projecting Suaro's defense enough for that to be a fit. He does lots of stuff that we value in a meaningful good bit player. He's a threat to run into an extra base hit. He's fast. He plays multiple positions, and he's competitive, high-end motor guy. We like Suaro as a bat-first backup catcher who can also have a situational impact on a game basically every day. Now, this is the scouting report for Chris Suaro, catcher for the New York Mets. New York Mets signed right-hander Kevin Gowdy to a minor league deal. The Mets keep making sure their pool of pitching options for the upper minors and their majors remains large. It's one of the organizational priorities. In fact, signing cheap but talented arms on low-risk contracts and giving them the tools to improve and realize their potential. On Monday, it was announced that the Mets reached an agreement with a minor league veteran who hasn't reached the major leagues yet. The Mets have signed right-hander Kevin Gowdy to a minor league deal retroactive to March 16th and have signed him to AA Binghamton. Gowdy's 28, owns a career 5.19 ERA in 186 innings, 186 appearances, and 341 2/3 innings. He has reached as high as AAA. As Met writer Aaron Shmalalov, who covers the team for Last Word on Sports. The Mets have added a lot of talent on minor league contracts in the 25-26 offseason. Some of these players are Tyler Birch, Alfredi Gomez, Kevin Urgent, Robinson Martinez, Zach Peak, Jun Shim, and Christian Pache. And there are more, and more to come. Now, if you want to know what's going on in the Mets minor league system, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, welcome back to the Baseball Head, and hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. Mets won tonight, 4-2 against the Cardinals in St. Louis. First road game of the season. Mets pitching was really good. They got some timely hitting. And really, that's what it comes down to. Obviously, when you get good starting pitching and you get your starter into the sixth inning, seventh inning, you got a shot to win, and that's what happened. Clay Holmes has been a very good pitcher with the Mets. He's been a really good pitcher his whole career since the Yankees picked him up in 2021. But he's been so impressive here in the year that he's been here with the Mets. He went 12-8 last year. He had a good ERA. He kept the Mets in games. That's the difference between having a veteran pitcher on your staff, a guy that has been a starter in the minor leagues, but obviously had been a two-time All-Star as a reliever. But having a veteran guy in there, he's solid. He had a solid performance. Pitched 5 2/3 innings, gave 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks. A little high. I want to get that down. And 5 strikeouts to give a home run, I guess, to Gorman. But he pitched really well. And really the reason the Mets won tonight, obviously, is the pitching. They only gave up 3 walks tonight. That's huge. The Mets got to keep the walks down. I mean, the big reason they lost on Sunday is because of the walks. Too many walks. Tobias, I'll get it right. Tobias Myers came in relief. He's going to be a key guy in that bullpen and on the staff, because they'll put him in to start in spaces, and he'll come in to pitch in relief and maybe come in to close games. He's a really good pitcher. He's got a good arm, and he pitched really well. He really shut the Cardinals down, and the Cardinals are bad. I mean, part of the thing about the Cardinals is they're a young team and they're bad too. When when you don't have enough talent and you're young, it's tough to develop. And then Brooks Raley came in, pitched an inning, gave 1 little hit, and Devin Williams came in. He throws ball with 3 fingers, folks. On the ball, it's amazing. I did not see that in the last few years. I obviously pitched with the Brewers and the Yankees, but the ability to sort of turn that ball over on a change-up or the airbender is quite interesting. And he came in pretty much very comfortable, him coming in and getting the save. But on the offensive side of this team, pretty solid, pretty much. I mean, they got big hits when they needed it. Like I said, it's not a very good Cardinal team. So any mistakes the Cardinals make, they're going to be magnified. I mean, they were saying on the radio as I was coming home tonight, that they're predicted to lose 95 games. And they played like that, I guess, tonight. But Lindor had a triple to lead off the game, scored the first run. Once Soto brought him in, and he went 1 for 3, had 2 walks. Bo Bichette had a very strong game tonight. He went 1 for 5 and got 2 runs batted in. I'm going to point something out to maybe the people that don't understand this guy. Okay, the guy is a 298 hitter. As a hitter, it means he's hit 300 a few times. This guy has led the league twice in hits. This guy can hit, and he can hit any part of the ballpark. He might be one of the best hitters in the game, just purely as a hitter. He's a pure hitter. He might be one of the better ones in the game. He's up there with one, so that's how good he is as a hitter. And if you think that he's going to be a bust, any clown, I know who the clown is, that thinks that he's going to be the worst bust in the free agent in Mets history, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He just wants clicks. Just wants, almost that hit, that Cameron hit, or whatever the hell you call it, the sort of fix of paying attention to you online. But that guy can hit. And I'm not concerned by his start at all. It's just like last year when I told you all not to be concerned about the start of Juan Soto, that he was going to come around. I thought it was so totally unfair that the fans at the ballpark were booing him. 3 games into the season and you're booing this guy. I mean, come on. Lighten up. It's not that important. And you look foolish. Or hey, Polanco. They've been DHing him a little bit because he's got a problem with his foot. His foot's killing him. Just started the season. He went 2 for 5. He's going to hit too. I mean, if he can stay, if he's healthy, he's going to get his hits. I'm not too concerned with him. Brett Beatty had a good game. He was all over the place. Played right field. Played first base. Finished the game out. First base is going to be sort of a whoever they have to put in there that day. That's who they'll have in it that day. It's not like the last 6-7 years when we had this certain polar bear there. Jared Young, people were melting down about Jared Young. Why is he in the lineup? Why do you have Mark Vientos on the bench? What did he do? He drove in a run in the game. 1 for 4 to score a run. I know that some YouTubers think that they're hot shit and they think that that Jared Young not being on the roster was a bad idea. I would rather have him than Vidal Brujan, who can't hit the broadside of a barn. This guy can hit balls out of the ballpark, and that's what I want off my bench. Let's need a guy off the bench that are going to hit. It's going to hit a home run. They got guys on that bench that can hit home runs. But Vientos on the right side and Young on the left side. Vientos isn't going to get in the game until they go up against a left-handed pitcher. Which I don't think they're going to see one until they go to San Francisco, by the way. So you got to be patient. And I would mention, too, with Vientos, he did not hit well last year. One of the big reasons this team did not play well last year, especially in the first half, is that he did not deliver in the first half at all. So keep that in mind. Marcus Semien, even though he's still struggling with the bat, played a good second base, turned a couple good double plays. He's very solid at second. Very short-handed, he's really good. I'm not too concerned. He doesn't have to do a lot for me. If he hits 250, I'd be happy. And, gets his OPS above 700, I'm happy with that. I know what I'm getting from him. He's 35 years old, but he has potential to do more. Just due to the fact that he has quite the resume. A very quietly great resume. Carson Bench went 2 for 4. I guess he was over his last 7 after the home run. But he got 2 for 4 in this game, and he looked pretty good. Scored a run, stole a second stolen base. I am not concerned with him at all, of course. Francisco Alvarez went 1 for 3. Had a double in the game. Has looked much, much better behind the plate so far in this young season. I do not get dismayed by the numbers here. They tend to sort of be all over the place in the first few months, the first month or so. A guy can have a bad week and the numbers look terrible. A guy can have a great week and it's great. Can't get him out. So that's how baseball is. So, people have been overreacting to everything. Everything. I mean, it's just crazy. The only thing I have an issue with was what happened on Sunday when Tim Leeper, the Mets' new third base coach, sent Francisco Lindor from first base home on a ball that hit the left field at Citi Field. That gap into the left field is shorter than it is to right field. If Soto had pulled the ball to right center field, you send Lindor. If you hit that ball to left field, it's not a deep gap there. That ball's going to come back right away. And even though the relays were not perfect, they were perfect enough to throw out Lindor. I would also let you keep an eye on this as well. I was thinking about this today. That I hope that he has not lost half a step there. Because it was way too close in that situation for him to get thrown out like that. So just keep that in mind moving forward, that he might have lost half a step. And the reason I say it's just because it's based on the age, not on anything else, but just keep that in mind. He is 32, 33 years old, Francisco Lindor. And that I was thinking about that today, that maybe that might have been a reason why he was thrown out at home plate on Sunday. But be that as it may, Mets are 3-1 on the season. They go tomorrow for the series win. Hopefully they can get the win. They got Kodai Senga pitching. We'll see how he pitches. He had a pretty good spring for the Mets. I love the guy. I think that when he pitches well, he's an ace. And the Mets have to keep him healthy, that to manage his innings, and make sure that his body doesn't break down. When they signed him, the real deal was that he would have gotten more money if he didn't have an issue with the elbow and his arm. He would have got more money when they signed him out of Japan after the 22 season. But he's a guy to keep healthy. I will say this. I love the fact that they gave Robert Jr. The start off today. I'd like to see them do that more with some of these guys, particularly with Semien and Polanco. I would like to see on Tuesday the Mets sit Semien, Just so he's 35 years old. I don't want him playing a day game after a night game. I think you got to manage that and keep him healthy. I think that might be a way to keep him on the field because he did miss some games last year. So I love the fact that they're doing that with Robert Jr., who is 28, by the way. It was shocking to hear that they want to manage, but he has had injury issues. But that's a smart thing. He came in late in the defense. He's been pretty solid since the Mets have since their season started. He's hitting .417, by the way, with the 533. Let me see. On 533 on base percentage. 667 slugging percentage. I think that's pretty good. 1,200 OPS. But that's only in 3 games plus tonight. But you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, it was a good win for the Mets against the Cardinals. I'll be back again tomorrow giving you the scoop, the straight up dope, or dope that's giving you straight to you. But I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, God willing. And thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later. The Mets are embarking on a 7-game road trip that starts in St. Louis on Monday, and it takes them to San Francisco. But in the first 3 games, they go up against a young Cardinals team. They broke their team apart, trading guys like Wilson Contreras, Sonny Gray this offseason, and being led by a very young group, led by J.J. Weatherholt. On Monday, they're going to pitch Clay Holmes. Tuesday, the Mets are going to pitch Cody Sagan. We'll see how he does. And, of course, on Wednesday afternoon, they'll send Freddie Peralta out for his second start. Then the Mets go to California, and they play the Giants in a big 4-game series. And we'll have it all here at the Baseball Hut. So hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you later. This is the Mets' 11th best prospect according to Fangraphs. Shortstop, third baseman, it says here, Elian Pena. Pena received the top bonus in the 2025 international class, outside of Roki Suzuki, at $5 million, a deal that had been in place since well before David Stearns began to helm the organization. Pena was viewed as the most advanced batter in the class, a Deverish prospect with real feel to hit and power, despite a relatively squat frame at a stocky 5'10" or so. He didn't get off to the best start in 2025 and was hitting 186 at the end of June before he got rocket engine hot for 2 months and hit 345 with a 458 on base percentage and a 571 slugging percentage throughout the rest of the season. Pena's hitting hands are explosive and work in a vertical fashion that's mechanically similar to Nolan Gorman, creating big-time launch all over the hitting zone. This doesn't necessarily mean Pena will have Gorman's strikeout issues. He was able to maintain a 78% contact rate across the entire season, and that includes his ice-cold start. His measurable power isn't as big as some of the other top 2025 DSL performers. He only managed a 24% hard hit rate and maxed out a ball in play at 105 miles per hour. But we're inclined to trust our eyes here, and we like the hip and hand tension Pena creates enough to consider him a good power-hitting prospect, even though he lacks the body projection that is typical for his age. Pena is physically mature for 18, right on down to his 5 o'clock shadow, and is fairly likely to slide to third base while he's still in the minor leagues. That puts real pressure on him, actualizing above-average hit and power tools, which has us anxious to see how his contact rate holds up upon promotion to the Mets' St. Lucie complex roster in 2026. This is the scouting report for Brewers shortstop second baseman Jesus Maid, who is the third best prospect according to MLB Pipeline. Like Jackson Chourio before him, Maid has become one of the shining examples of Milwaukee's impressive international scouting and internal player development operations since signing for $950,000 out of the Dominican Republic in January of 2024. He jumped onto the top 100 list after slashing 331 in 51 games in the Dominican Summer League in his debut season, and then continued to zoom stateside in 2025, opening with Single-A Carolina and rounding out the year at Double-A as an 18-year-old. He had 285 with 6 home runs, 40 extra base hits, and 47 steals in 115 games across 3 levels last season. A switch hitter, Maid is one of the twitchiest prospects in baseball, relying on quick bat speed from both sides of the plate. He ran almost exactly even platoon splits in 25, and while his 6 homers don't exactly jump off the page, his raw power continues to grow as he ages. Should he lift the ball more with additional physical maturity, there's the potential for 25, 30 home runs down the line to go with his good average considering the approach and quality of contact. Made uses that quick twitch nature on the base paths as a plus runner, and since he's signed, he's proven capable of making highlight moves with good range and a quick release in the field at shortstop. Coaches and evaluators close to him were pleased with how he improved his consistency on more mundane plays at the six, and he could be above average there in time. Milwaukee has given Made time at second and third early in his career, but is expected to keep prioritizing his shortstop, where Made could be a franchise player at a premier position. Now, welcome back to the Prospect Hub. We're going to get into this second game of the season for the Syracuse Mets, with the Mets AAA affiliate in the International League, and they played the Worcester Red Sox, which is the AAA affiliate for the Red Sox. So we're going to get into what happened in this game. Well, the Mets lost, so they lost 5-3 to the Sox on the road. Let's don't start on the road. Don't start at home until next week. It's the second game of the year. But to go to the box score, MJ Melendez went 0-for-3. Had a walk in this game. Struck out 2 times. That's picked him up in the middle, in the middle of winter. Ryan Clifford playing left field went 1-for-4 for the runs scored. He struck out twice. Ronnie Mauricio drove in the first run in the first inning with an RBI single, scoring Melendez. Jose Rojas went 1-for-4 in the game, scored a run. Christian Arroyo DHing went 2-for-4. Joe Wang Bay went 0-for-4 in the game, playing center field. Jackson Kloof, the shortstop, went 0-for-3 with a strikeout. Jonathan Hernandez went 0-for-2, playing second base. And Oryx Vega, the catcher, went 0-for-3 in the game. Not a lot of offense for the Mets here, obviously. And the pitching was not really good today. Joanda Suarez pitched 3 in the third innings. Gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikes, and a home run in his first start of the season. Hammer went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit and a walk. A lot of walks in this game. Jonathan Pintaro went 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 were earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Obviously, with the weather being so cold up in the Northeast today, I'm sure this didn't do well for the pitching. Gerber went 1 inning, gave up a hit, and struck out 2. And now his career went 1 inning, gave up a run, a hit, 1 run is earned, 2 walks, and a strikeout. A lot of walks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walks in the game the Mets gave up in AAA. So that is a big problem, obviously. You can't be walking the batters. In 62 pitches that Joanda Suarez pitched, 36 went for strikes. So 26 went for balls. That's not gonna help. That's not gonna hack it. But let me know what you think about this video. I have more stuff on everywhere I'm on social media. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Here's the Mets' 12th best prospect according to Fangraphs. This is left-handed pitcher Zach Thornton. Thornton was a soft-tossing, strike-throwing southpaw at Grand Canyon who fell to the 5th round because his stuff was arguably too light to get big leaguers out. Now he's throwing a little harder, and he thrived in 2025 at 1.98 ERA, 28.5 strikeout percentage, a 4.0 percentage walk rate, and mostly Double-A before an oblique issue ended his season. Even though Thornton is only sitting 91 now, it might be hard enough for him to succeed thanks to his command and deception. Thornton is a very slot guy who hides the ball forever as his arms and legs act like a magician's assistant for his fastball. He was able to generate a slightly above average miss rate last year and a plus miss rate on his slider, thanks to his surgical command much more than pure stuff. He can manipulate his slider into more of a cutter, dumping a slow curveball for strikes, and has changed up his projection thanks to the ease and grace of his delivery. If Thornton's velocity can take another step forward in 2026, the Mets might be tempted to promote him. He'd be a sure bet to come up and throw strikes as anyone in the minors, and he's one of the couple of minor leagues for whom it wouldn't be crazy to put an 80 on his command. A 2026 pick to click, this projection has Thornton graded as a number 4-5 starter. If he's sitting 93 for the first 2 months of 2026, it will be tempting to elevate his grade. This is the scouting report for the Mets' 12th best prospect, left-handed pitcher, Zach Thornton. This is the fourth best prospect according to MLB Pipeline. This is athletic shortstop Leo DeVries. DeVries top MLB Pipeline's top 50 international prospects list for the 2024 signing period, at least until Roki Sasaki posted. And the Padres made it 2 years in a row that they signed the top prospect on that market, giving DeVries $4.2 million when that period opened. He was signed aggressively, going straight to full season ball, and he more than held his own, making impressive adjustments to take off in the second half and finishing things off as the youngest player in the Arizona Fall League to make up for some lost time due to shoulder strain. A futures gamer in 2025, DeVries was in high A when he was a centerpiece prospect sent to the A's in the Mason Miller trade deadline blockbuster, and he finished the year strong up in Double A, going 8 for 19 with 3 homers over 5 playoff games. Still only 19 for all of the 2026 season, DeVries has some serious offensive ability from both sides of the plate. One of the reasons the Padres felt comfortable pushing him to start his career was because of his advanced approach that belies his years, and he walked at a 12.3% clip in 2025 while limiting strikeouts, something he continued even when he went up in Double A for the first time. He flipped his home run splits in 2025 compared to the previous year, and there is more natural loft from the left side, though he did turn on some pitches right-handed late in the year with Midland, and there's confidence he'll be productive both ways. DeVries is athletic and an above-average runner, and at times has shown the range and hands to play shortstop. But there are those in the industry who don't see that as a slam dunk. He did play some second during his AFL stint, but that's been his only exposure in games to another spot in the dirt. Even if he does have to move off a shortstop, his combination of offensive upside, makeup, feel for the game, and ability to rise to challenges still make him an elite prospect. This is the fourth best. Mets will be starting their season at home on Wednesday when they play the Toledo Mud Hens in Syracuse. They play a 5-game series. This will be a series that will go into Sunday, and then they go on the road and they play Buffalo in a 6-game series. What's different about the minor leagues now is that teams don't go on these long road trips. They basically play week to week with a team. In other words, say the Syracuse Mets will play a team in the division. Now, the start of the season is a little bit different, but after this week coming up, they'll play the Buffalo team next week in a 6-game series, and every week is a 6-game series. So they'll be in one place for 6 games, then they'll come home for 6 games and back and forth. There's no longer these long road trips to these teams that, just the famous stuff like, Bull Durham, going on the road for like 2-3 weeks. That doesn't happen now in the minor league, so that's different. So that's something new you need to know about. It's been going on for a few years since they condensed all the teams after the 2019 season. So, hey everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hunter. Welcome back to the Baseball Head 3, and hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So we're going to talk about something I haven't really talked about here. That's the March Madness. I haven't watched it. I mean, I watched a little bit of the St. John's team lose to Duke the other day, but I have a question. Why is Charles Barkley involved with the NCAA? And why you have a whole bunch of people that have nothing to do with the NCAA for the most part involved in the pre and post game? But more importantly, why is Charles Barkley involved? When I think of Charles Barkley, I don't think of college. I couldn't even tell you what college team he played for when he was in college. Well, apparently I don't know why he's there. I don't know if he's there for some peculiar reason or what, but he's there, and he had something to say that is not really about sports. Let me read the headline from Outkick. I don't know why they wrote like this. Sir Charles Barkley stuns March Madness viewers with immigration rant. Why? Sir Charles slams disgraceful border treatment, defending amazing immigrants. What does this have to do with the NCAA tournament and the Final Four? Don't know. Couldn't tell you. UConn and Duke were battling for a Final Four spot Sunday night, but Charles Barkley had a different topic in mind and during the program. National policy. The Inside the NBA legend took over the CBS TNT broadcast during a break in the action, turning a human interest story about UConn's Alex Caravan into a lecture on the U.S. border. While fans were waiting for bowl analysis from Sir Charles, He delivered a full-court press on the government, calling the current state of affairs a travesty and a disgrace. The unexpected pivot happened after a segment detailing the Caravan family's journey to America from Ukraine and Belarus. Barkley rarely went for the teleprompter, went off script to voice his frustration about how he believes the country's handling new arrivals. Quote, I love that kid and his family, but the way some of these other immigrants are getting treated in our country right now is a travesty and a disgrace. Barkley told his broadcast colleagues, what's this all about? The Auburn alum and Hall of Famer made sure to distinguish between those he admires and those he doesn't. Quote, I think there's a difference between amazing immigrants and criminal immigrants. What's that to do with basketball? Barkley said, I think what's going on in our country, what we're doing to some of these amazing immigrants, is really unfortunate. It's really sad. What's this again? Has nothing to do with basketball. Barkley has previously scorched both sides of the political aisle for failing to fix the border, double down on the contribution of foreign-born citizens to the American fabric. Immigrants built this country, and we should admire them and respect them, he added. While the game ended in a buzzer-beater thrill, the water cooler talk was dominated by Sir Charles's political play. Like I said, what does this have to do with the game? Nothing. What does it have to do with the games? Nothing. Clearly, he was told to say this. Clearly, he had to get his political point in. Clearly, someone had told him so. If you're bringing this up, you're not just doing this on your own. Let's be honest. And Barkley's certainly not conservative or right-leaning in any sense whatsoever. So the idea that he's taking it upon himself to talk about this, I don't think so. He had to at least run this through his boss. And like I said, when you look at him, you don't think of the NCAA, you think of the NBA. So why is he there? There's been a lot, like I said, there's a lot of criticism about the people that have been doing the post-game and the pre-games for the NCAA. I mean, they people are not happy with it, from what I've read. And this just adds to it. And then you don't bring up the fact that you got this horrible war going on in Ukraine. And apparently they're treating this kid well. So I don't know what he's getting at, If you come here legally, there's no problem. Coming here illegally, you're coming here causing trouble, creating crime everywhere, you're not going to be treated well. But I don't know. This is a very strange pivot, a very strange story when it comes to basketball. What's this have to do with anything? I don't know. Well, let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 3. I'll see you later. The Syracuse Mets, and it's the AAA team affiliate for the New York Mets, has already started their season. But all the AAA teams have started their season last week. On Friday, April 3rd, every other team and every other level are going to start their season. With the New York Mets, the Binghamton Rowan opponents will start their season. The St. Lucie Mets and, of course, the Brooklyn Cyclones start their seasons on Friday, April 3rd. And then later on, in a few months, we'll have the Florida Complex League and the Dominican Summer League. But that's a few months from now. But that's what's happening. If you don't know what's going on with those teams, why AA and single A teams are even started, that's why. So, if you didn't know that, I'm just going to let you know here on the Prospect Hut